If there is one thing that is everywhere in Super Mario Wonder, then it is Wonder Seeds. And that's actually a huge problem for a couple of reasons, but more on that in a second. But if there is a second thing that is everywhere in the game, then it is coins. And wherever there are coins, a question arises. A question as old as the Mushroom Kingdom itself. The question of whether the game can happily be beaten without touching a coin, or whether the game can only be beaten with coins and sadness. And thus I sat down and decided to finally settle this ancient riddle once and for all. And let me tell you, wow. Trying to beat Mario Wonder without ever touching any disgusting coins is something else. The game really isn't messing around. There are coins everywhere. There are coins in the air and coins on the ground, coins that jump out of nowhere and coins that magically manifest themselves right in front of us. There are coins that block pipes and pipes that spit coins towards us. Nonetheless, we're going on a journey. We will relive my traumatizing attempt to somehow beat Super Mario Wonder without ever touching any coins. After all, what could possibly go wrong? So gentle ladies, gentlemen, and gentle people in general, are you ready? Then let's do this. Alrighty right, before we hop into our endless crusade against gold and riches, we first have to define what even counts as touching a coin in Super Mario Wonder. Luckily for us, the game already does that for us. There is a coin counter of shame in the top left corner. Whenever this coin counter increases while playing a stage, we consider Mario to be legally dead, forcing us to decompose the plumber's corpse at the next local landfill. Simple as that. Unfortunately for us, murdering our plumber does not reset the coin counter, which means the counter won't be sitting at a straight 0 throughout the game. Alright, so that's it for normal coins. But what about the purple flower coins? Are flower coins coins, or are flower coins a different coin species altogether? So after a thorough investigation into this matter, as well as extensive counseling with our legal team and biology research center, we have come to the conclusion that flower coins are indeed coins, as the coin in their name already suggested. We are not allowed to touch them. And that is actually a huge problem. You see, there are normally barely any flower coins ambushing us in the stages. These coins usually only appear once we grab a Wonder Seed. Once we grab the Wonder Seed, the Hunger Games are officially opened and we're up for assassination. Holy fuzzy, the Wonder Seeds transform all the different stages in Mario Wonder into bloody meat grinders. Suddenly flower coins appear in every inappropriate position imaginable. Coin bits shoot out of the ground. Impossible coin walls suddenly manifest in front of us. The heavens themselves might start to shower us in coins, or worst of all, we might all of a sudden become magnetical and start to pull disgusting coins towards us. Each and every flower seed in the game confronts us with a potentially life-threatening situation that we somehow have to escape. Because of this, we want to avoid collecting Wonder Seeds as much as possible altogether, which already brings us to our next big routing problem. Wonder Seeds are required to unlock the final stages of each world. Each world has its own type of Wonder Seed. Only once we've found enough of those, the castle level finally opens up. We have to figure out a way to find enough Wonder Seeds to finish each world separately. Because of this, it makes a lot of sense to track all the different worlds independently, which already brings us to our overview tracker. Here we have a nice little overview tracking the 6 main worlds in the game, as well as the overworld and the final gauntlet. We'll take a look at each one of these 8 worlds separately and whether there are any complications along the way. Hooray! Finally, what tools do we have at our disposal? First, are we allowed to use the online mode? And the answer is a very clear nope-si-dope. There are 2 huge problems with online play in Mario Wonder. First, it kind of allows us to skip the entire game without ever really interacting with any of it, which is admittedly very coinless, but unfortunately also very dumb. But the second and much bigger problem, it is not future-proof. At some point in the future, Nintendo will shut down the servers, disabling online play in Mario Wonder altogether. If we were to manage to beat the game coinless just because of the online game mode, then we would only have found a way to beat the game without touching a coin while the servers are online. Our victory would only be temporary. But temporary coinless victories are not what we are looking for. What we are looking for is eternal coinless domination, and thus any solutions relying on the online mode are banned. Cool, so we unplug ourselves from the wide world web for a moment and stay offline. What tools do we actually have at our disposal? Well, first, there are all the badges in the game that we can unlock at various points of our adventure. Second, there are the different character options, and third, there are the various delicious power-ups that we get to swallow along our journey. The badges first. The first badge that we unlock is the one that allows us to use our fashionable hats to float in air for much longer. Luckily for us, this badge is actually the most useful in the entire game for poverty-aspiring purposes. Being able to float in air is just incredibly useful to avoid tons of tricky coin layouts throughout the game. It will be the default badge that we use. There is only a single other badge that we're going to use in the run, the spin jump badge, that we get access to after beating World 3. This badge just allows us to jump higher than we usually do, helping us in a couple of tight spots. Awesome! What about all the delicious power-ups? Well, unfortunately for us, the power-ups in Mario Wonder are rather useless. What's the big problem? Well, the big problem is that power-ups make us big. You see, there are actually tons of spots in the game where we are barely able to somehow sneak past dangerous coins as small Mario. If we were to be a powered up version of Mario, we're suddenly too big to make those jumps. Because of this, we play as small Mario as default, which already raises the next question. Why do we play as Mario? Why don't we play as Nabbit, who is invulnerable to damage, or as Yoshi, who is not only invulnerable but also has access to a cool flutter jump? And once again, the answer is quite simple, because of their hitbox. Being invulnerable is obviously quite handy, but after doing a bit of scientific testing on that matter, I came to the conclusion that being small is just a better superpower than invulnerability. The thing is the following: being immune to damage is only useful if we want to damage boost through an obstacle, but damage boosting through an obstacle is something that we can do as normal Mario as well. All that we need to do is to devour a delicious mushroom before. So normal Mario has access to damage boosting. Yoshi and Nabbit, on the other hand, don't have access to a small form, making them just worse options. Hooray! So small Mario it is. And with this, let's finally hop into the game proper and let's investigate the first world. Luckily for us, we're off to a really good start. The first couple of levels are rather simple to beat. All that there is a bit of a tricky jump in the Piranha Plant Parade level where we have to jump over dangerous coin-loaded node blocks. Other than that, the beginning of the game is trivial until we reach the big open area in the center of World 1. We need to grab 10 Wonder Seeds now to unlock the castle stage, but our options are very limited. Why are they limited? Well, because we can't access half of the stages here, because there's a rock blocking the upper part that we can only get rid of by paying a toad a bunch of flower coins to remove it for us. Flower coins that we obviously do not have for very obvious reasons. Because of this, our options to get the 10 Wonder Seeds are very limited. There are 9 seeds that we can get somehow easily. The final one, however, well, that one is quite a challenge. Our best shot to get it is to beat the Hurry Hurry Challenge Room. And that's a problem. You see, the simple challenge room provides us with a challenge that could not be simpler. All that we have to do is to activate this timer block and then to run to the right. Unfortunately, however, this does not help us very much because the evil game developers decided to plaster the entire path with shiny and deadly coins along the way, which brings us to a very interesting characteristic of coins in Mario Wonder. You see, the coins in the Hurry Hurry Challenge are all exactly one tile apart, and in Mario Wonder the coin collision testing is actually so precise that it is possible to stand in between two coins as long as they are a tile apart. You probably already know where this is headed. Well, let's put it this way. It took me a not insignificant amount of my limited time on this planet to figure out if it is humanly possible to pull this off, but I'm happy to report that all of this time was well spent, because as it turns out, it is possible to grab this seed coinless. Hooray! We're off to a really good start, and things are about to get even better for us, because our next stop is the overworld. The overworld in Mario Wonder pretty much acts as an additional world featuring many stages and its own version of Wonder Seeds. We gradually unlock all the levels here whenever we finish one of the main worlds. Luckily for us, these overworld levels are all really easy to beat coinless. There are just so many levels that we can choose from, and a few levels that can't be avoided all feature pretty easy coin layouts. We can immediately remove the entire overworld as well. None of the stages here are threatening our beggarliness. Hooray! Off we are to World 2. And it is World 2, in which we first encounter a terrible new foe, a problematic danger to a run that we haven't really spoken about so far. You see, the coins aren't acting alone today. Oh no. They got help. They hired mercenaries to support them in Mario Wonder. Evil golden helper links on a devastating mission to increase our balance sheet. It is in World 2 that we first encounter one of these merciless mercenaries. Right here. Do you see them? That's right, these condarts are no ordinary enemies. They are evil agents of the coins. Their plan? To punish us with shiny and deadly riches as soon as they see us. You see, some of these dumb condarts actually place themselves right beside question blocks, ramming into the block as soon as they noticed us, causing us a lethal wealth spike. In this spot we have to drop down. To our right and left, mad condarts have positioned themselves ready to attack us while we fall. Those birds, however, aren't even the problem. The problem is what lurks below. Down there, two birds perfectly place themselves right beside two brick blocks loaded with deadly coins. As soon as we drop down, the trap triggers and the two condarts destroy the questionable question blocks, blocking us from proceeding. This trap here caused me quite a headache. There is no way to avoid this spot. We have to drop down here, causing both birds to trigger every time. It's a really clever trap. Luckily for us, there is a way to solve this. You see, if we do a bit of preparation work and ground pound our way down until we're standing exactly on top of the final brick block, then we're in a perfect position to execute one of the condarts using our fire flower, fireball, flower power fire. This means we only have to deal with a single bird once we drop down instead of two, making it possible to take out both birds before an accidental enrichening takes place. Hooray! We're making really great progress here. The rest of World 2 doesn't provide any major problems either. There are a couple of tricky jumps, but nothing major, until we reach the final castle stage. In the final castle stage, however, our progress comes to a brutal stop. Let's get straight to the point. It is impossible to leave the stage without picking up a devastating coin. After a while, we run into this spot. Here, coins have strategically positioned themselves on top of a couple of pipes. We have to pick up one of these coins on top of the pipes here. Why, I hear you ask? Well, because the pipe drops down as soon as we stand on top of it. It only drops down if we stand on top of it. And there is no way to drop down this pipe without picking up the coin before. Let's pull out our overview and let's add an instance of failure to it. It is not possible to beat World 2 entirely coinless. As disappointing as it is, we simply have to pick up a stupid coin here. But this coin doesn't mark a singular instance of shame and failure. Quite the contrary. This coin is actually a harbinger of death and despair. Because next up is World 3, and World 3 is awful. It is a world of terror and dread. It is a place where coinless ambitions end and dreams of poverty evaporate in disgusting dusts of wealth and currency. World 3 is psychological terror. It is Lovecraft mushroomified. The horror has a simple name. The horror is called Hoppycat. World 3 is the world of the Hoppycats, the most terrifying creature known to man and mushroom alike. So what are Hoppycats, I hear you ask? Well, Hoppycats are dark creatures that hop whenever we do. A cursed characteristic that the Hoppycats abused to build a sadistic trap. But one thing after the other. The stage that is causing us such problems is the Hoppycat trial. We can't grab the Wonder Seed here that transforms ourselves into a Hoppycat because there happens to be an unavoidable flower coin wall along the way. So we have to leave this area through the normal exit pipe, which straight up leads us into the Hoppycat's trap. Do you see it? It's such a simple yet murderous setup. There are 4 coins on the ground in front of us. We have to jump over these. But below those coins there are 4 Hoppycats. As soon as we jump, those Hoppycats hop along, destroying the brick blocks above them, causing us to immediately gain all 4 stupid coins. It's so evil. There is nothing we can do here. We either walk into our golden doom or jump our way into it. We have to pick up a whopping 4 golden coins here. And that's not all, because the next catastrophe is already lurking just around the corner. You see, the final stage of World 3 is the Zip Track Dash trial. The entire stage is a gigantic zip dashing parkour. Along the path there are tons of enemies, dozens of dumb coins, and even more dangerous magical flowers that strategically spawn in unavoidable coins right in front of us as soon as we touch them. The problem is the following. There are so many difficult coin layouts and so many tight spots here that it's just incredibly difficult to make it through the stage alive. There's just so much that can go wrong, and all of this is before the psychological torture. You see, it took me almost an hour of jumping and dying and zipping until I finally managed to reach the end of the level perfectly broke. Proud of myself, I jumped towards the flagpole, feeling warm and fuzzy for finally having taken revenge on World 3 for what they did to us during the trial of the Hoppycats, not realizing that I had just tapped into another Hoppycat trap. And then I realized what wicked game the Hoppycats have been playing with me, a realization that almost broke me. As it turns out, we do not have to beat the Zip Dash trial once. we have to beat it twice. The game only proceeds if we reach both exits of the level, but the second exit can't be reached without grabbing stupid coins along the way. You see, the only way to reach the secret exit is by transforming ourselves into a terrifying copycat and to jump off of this slope. This jump here, however, is no ordinary jump. It is a scripted cutscene. We can only reach the end by triggering the cutscene, but triggering the cutscene always punishes us with flower bits. It's horrible, I know. We have to pick up 0.6 flower coins here. Not only did World 3 manage to sneak 4 coins into our pockets, it also added 0.6 purple coins to our total balance sheet of shame. It's just... wow. World 3 just completely obliterated our coinless ambitions. Some part of me died in World 3. It wasn't the same person leaving the world that had entered it. The Copycats, they just stole a part of me. As we entered World 4, I was apathetic. And World 4 is already the next problem. It is very difficult to get enough wonder seeds here. All the seeds are protected by difficult coin layouts or straight up impossible jumps. The rolling ball hall confronts us with a coin layout that we can't dodge fast enough. The ninja party is actually no real party, but a cleverly disguised assassination attempt that soon confronts us with unavoidable coins. The pipe park is obviously impossible to do coinless, and so are many of the challenge rooms. It took my last bit of strength to even take a look at the armats on the roll stage, only to be greeted with another unavoidable rotating coin wall there as well. And it was right in front of this terrible rotating coin circle that I gave up. I crouched down as Mario, and I wasn't strong enough to get up anymore. The Copycats in World 3 just broke me. It is hopeless. We already failed in World 2. We failed again in World 3, and we will fail again in World 4. Our mission is a failure, and if we're honest to ourselves, we are as well. There's nothing that we can do, nothing that we can achieve. We can't even defeat the Copycat. How should we ever defeat the coins? I was standing in front of the rotating coin circle, paralyzed by its terrifying shininess. I was ready to let go, to end our journey, to seek the sweet relief of a game over screen. And as I slowly walked Mario towards the nearest local predator, a Pokey, determined to lose my final one-up and to quit this failure of a run. I was walking past the water pots, reflecting on all our failures of the past. I got ready to end this journey by a violent pokening, when all of a sudden, it hit me like a Hammer Bros hammer. A realization. The water pots. All over the stage there are water pots. Why didn't we notice the water pots? Of course, there is still hope. How could we miss this? We were so traumatized that we lost our ability to see the obvious. It might be true that Mario can't jump high enough to pass the terrifying coin circle in front of him just by jumping off of the ground. But why would we jump off of the ground to begin with? You see, the water chucks only despawn if they are not on screen. They only despawn off screen. What this means is that we can carry as many chucks through the stage as we want, as long as we pick them up one by one and move them along bit by bit. Do you see where this is headed? We can actually get half a dozen water chucks to the terrible coin circle this way. We can build ourselves a nice little bridge to jump off from, which, hooray! This gives us enough height to dodge the dumb coin circle. Gentle ladies, gentlemen, and gentle people in general. Maybe our situation isn't as hopeless as it at first appeared. Slowly the Copycat's wound was healing. You see, we might not be able to beat Mario Wonder coinless, but we might be able to beat World 4. And thus I took all my courage and took a closer look at the world. And all of a sudden, I managed to make it past obstacles I thought to be impossible. We survive an incredibly tricky spot where we have to dodge tons of extremely tight coin layouts while our own shadow is chasing us from behind. We pulled off an incredibly dangerous jump in the castle where we have to time a damage boost perfectly alongside a very tight jump to make it past the fire bar coin trap, and we make it past dozens of other spots only to eventually find out that it is actually possible to finish World 4 without ever touching any coins. Hooray! And this is the last two we're going to rave for a long while, because next up is World 5, and World 5 is the biggest cointastrophe I've ever run into in any coinless run ever. It doesn't get any worse than World 5. So first, we have to repair the bridge. Right after entering the world, there is an eager toad greedily awaiting us. This toad refuses to repair the bridge if we do not pay him 50 purple coins. This bridge is unavoidable, there's nothing we can do about it. It is on a critical path through the game. We have to get 50 purple coins. Luckily for us, we at least can bend our rule set a little here, to at least pretend that we solved this problem. You see, there are a bunch of hidden Captain Toads on the world map that hand out 50 purple coins coins as punishment if we disturbed them. Technically, we did not touch any coins in the stage if we were given them by Captain Toad on the world map, which makes it possible to repair the bridge here, as well as another one in World 6. But that is just the beginning of our problems, because next up are the Wooba ruins. I hate the Wooba ruins. It is one of the most terrible stages Nintendo ever crafted. So first, this stage once again forces us to leave it through a secret exit. It's the Zapdash trial all over again. We have to reach the hidden exit that is only reachable after transforming into the most ugly creature known to man and mushroom. A Wooba. A Wooba is an ugly smelling creature that sticks to walls and ceilings. The only way to reach the true exit of the stage is by clinging to the ceiling. This ceiling, however, punishes us with a total of 0.4 purple coins for sticking to it, raising our failure count by almost half a coin. And that is just the beginning, because soon after we run into the next Wooba wreckage, the Poison Ruins. Here we once again have to use another secret exit that is once again only reachable as a Wooba, and that once again forces us to pick up 0.3 purple coins, raising our shameful shame counting counter once again. Literally nothing that we can do about it. The Woobas just hate us, and yet we haven't even talked about the worst Wooba offense yet, the dumb Poplin rescue. Here we are forced to transform into a stinking Wooba at the beginning of the stage. Once Wooba fight, we have to follow a linear path that leads us through 1 tile high corridors. 1 tile high corridors filled with coins. There is nothing that we can do to dodge them. We have to play as a Wooba and we have to squeeze through these tunnels. It's just... oh dear. Gentle ladies, gentlemen and gentle people in general. I think we lost. I honestly think the coins in Super Mario Wonder have won. They obliterated us. Like, you know, normally that would be the point where I try to somehow frame the current disaster at hand as a victory nonetheless, but I just don't know if this is possible today. You know, it's probably time to tell you the truth. You deserve to know what is really going on here. You see, as it turns out, it is actually possible to beat World 6 without grabbing any dumb coins. There are tons of tricky spots, but it is possible to leave World 6 coinless, and so is most of the final world. Even Bowser himself is beatable. The final boss battle isn't necessarily hard, it's just a long endurance test, because Bowser always spits out dumb purple coin bits when he gets hit. But it is doable. The real final challenge is the second to last stage. The Knucklefest. Holy fuzzy, the Knucklefest isn't messing around. It is a slaughter hole. The huge problem that we face is once again enforced Wanderer seedification. Once again, we can only finish the stage after devouring a disgusting Wanderer seed. And once again, its wondrous effects are devastating. The Wanderer seed transforms the entire stage in a gigantic party, which the coins are throwing to celebrate their victory. Suddenly, coins shoot down from the ceiling. There is gold that all of a sudden manifests out of thin air. The pipes begin to mockingly vomit coins towards our defeated plumber, and burning fists try to crush us, mirroring how the coins crushed our dreams. It's a final humiliation, a last demonstration of the coin's power, a celebration of our shortcomings. It's just I can't take this anymore. We just have to accept it. We failed today, we failed spectacularly. Our coin failure counter is in the double digits. You know, even if it were possible to somehow survive the coin carnage that the Knucklefest is, what's the point in even trying? And thus I was sitting there, unable to proceed, incapable of leaving, while coins periodically drop from the ceiling, eternally reminding me of my inadequacies. What started as a fun little challenge run was slowly turning into a psychological problem, reliving all our failures over and over again. How the pipe refused to move in World 2, how the Hoppycats lured us into a perfect trap, and worst of all, over and over again, flashing images of us clinging to ceilings, being squeezed through tight tunnels, the terrible smell, the goo, and shiny gold in front of us. Did you hear this? What was that? Is this really? Wow, I haven't heard this melody in ages. Why is the Ice Age jingle all of a sudden playing in the background? And it was here, right in front of the cycling gold, that I remembered a life lesson from a long time ago. You see, we do not have to do this on our own. We ourselves alone might not be capable of rising up against oppressive coin's reign of terror. But we are not alone. After all, there's a gigantic community of Super Mario nerds out there sharing our dream. And thus I finally decided to do what I should probably have done much earlier and looked up what the community had figured out about Mario Wonder. Which brings us to the Ice Age jingle. You see, soon after the release of Super Mario Wonder, certified Super Mario technician Ice actually uploaded a really interesting clip onto YouTube. A clip about a rather interesting world map glitch. As it turns out, it was possible to clip out of bounds on the world map on the release version of the game using a simple yet clever 2-player setup. This glitch actually makes it possible to completely sequence break the first half of the game. We can actually skip the entirety of World 2 and free this way. We just walk past the worlds on a minimap. Do you know what that means? This means we actually do not have to collect the coins in the castle at the end of World 2. Neither do we have to grab any of the coins in the Copycat trap, nor the purple bits in the Zip Dash trial, immediately removing all catastrophic coin instances outside of World 5. And yet, we aren't done here yet. So shout out to a brother in arms, Fur, who actually gave the sacred challenge an attempt shortly after the game's release and managed to defeat a couple of coins that we weren't able to overcome on our own. So first, let's return to the catastrophic Poplin rescue mission. The bad news first. There is currently no known way to leave the stage without grabbing some coins or cheesing it via online play. However, we don't have to pick up all the coins here. The trick is the following. This flower here is what removes the first brick block wall. Usually, we can only reach this flower after transforming into a smelling wooba and by making it through the deadly tunnel. However, if we enter this stage while wearing a bubble flower shooting bubble power flower power up, then we can actually strategically pop our bubble flower power flower bubble power up and generate a couple of bubble flower flower power bubbles before we pick up the wonder seed. Here's the kicker. Once we are a wooba, the camera finally starts to scroll. The bubbles we just shot, however, are still on screen. If we time this correctly, then the bubble will wobble up to the flower before it pops, popping the flower in the process and removing a whopping 4 coins off of our coin total. Hooray! But we aren't done here yet, because Fur actually also found another way to avoid coins. Back in the Wooba ruins, we were forced to transform into a wooba and to cling to the ceiling to reach the secret exit, netting us 0.4 devastating purple coins during the process. So theoretically, it is possible to cling to the ceiling without transforming into a wooba by wall jumping off of this wall while wearing the drill power up and to dig into it. However, we can't reach the exit pipe by doing this. We simply can't jump off of this sloped ceiling in such a way that we actually make it to the other side, is what I thought. But fortunately, Fur managed to prove me wrong. He actually managed to pull off this jump, proving that it is possible to leave the stage coinless. So this jump here is insanity. I really can't stress enough how difficult this is. I tried this for over an hour. I actually practiced the trick on a different slope over and over again, and I only once managed to get off of this practice slope in such a way that I think it would have actually gotten me to the other side in a real attempt. This trick is insanely hard. However, it is possible, removing another 0.4 coins off our coin total and leaving us with only 2 shameful instances that we were not able to dodge. The flower coin bits required to reach the secret exit here and 6 terrible tunnel coins during the rescue mission. Every other instance of coins in the game can actually be avoided. At that point, I was full of hope again. So is it possible to beat Super Mario Wonder without ever touching a single coin? Sadly no, at least not when playing offline. As of now, there are 2 instances in which we have to grab coins. However, we did put up quite a fight. We broke the world map to flee from dangerous hoppycats. We executed precise executions of dangerous condors and precisely platformed in between seemingly impossible coin layouts. We built bridges of pottery and dodged shiny threats in countless stages. Only the wobbas caused us to stumble. But we won't allow them to cause us to fall, and thus I took all my courage and returned back to the Knucklefest, the only challenge we had not yet beaten. And then I died immediately to coins dropping off of the ceiling, and then to coins spit out from below, and then to coins that manifested suddenly in air, and then to Bowser's burning punches. The stage is really no joke, but we keep going. 1-up mushroom for 1-up mushroom, we kept improving. After a while, I was able to reliably dodge the first couple of coins, then I managed to survive the dangerous platform ride for the first time. Little by little I was making progress, until eventually, I finally managed to grab the dumb wonder seed. And with this, our journey comes to an end. Hooray! So here we have it. There are 6.3 coins absolutely required to beat Mario Wonder. Every other coin in the game can be avoided. That one was really challenging. Before we wrap this up, just 2 more things. So first, as always, a gigantic thank you to all my wonderful patrons whose names are currently flapping by. These wonderful people not only regularly get access to small bonus content and little extra scripts, but their generous support also provides the currency that makes currency avoiding videos like this one possible. A huge thank you to all of them for that. Second in the video, we dodged the coins in World 2 and 3 by using a glitch only possible in the 1.0 version of Mario Wonder. But what about the current version? Are the coins in World World 2 and 3 also avoidable on the current version of the game? And the answer is almost yes. Huge shout out again to Fur and his community for figuring out how to skip those. First, the coins in the castle in World 2 can be avoided by precisely ground pounding at the very edge of the pipe. Yep, crazy I know. But that's not all, because it is actually also possible to reach the secret exit in the zip dash trial by precisely wall jumping off of the zip lines while using the floating head, which solves another problem. It is only the Hoppycats trial that makes World 3 impossible in the current version of the game. Generally, a huge shout out to all the other wonderful people who attempted this challenge before. I usually go in blind when trying a challenge run and only look up what other people figured out afterwards, and I really had a lot of fun to see where other people struggled and the different strategies they all came up with this time. I linked a couple of other people attempting the run in the description if you want to check them out. Awesome, so thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this little video. If you did, don't forget to leave me a thumbs up, and maybe you feel especially Hoppycat today and want to jump onto the subscribe button as well. Finally, if you truly loved the video and want to support content like this, then there is also the option to support the channel via Patreon. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, lots of hugs.